Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews. I am Horrorboy465, aka Nate Murphy, the Explorer of Horror. Welcome back to some more reviews. And today talking about Halloween 2, More of the Night He Came Home. Now, this is a film that came out in 1981. It gets a 6.5 on IMDb, directed by Rick Rosenthal, who would do Halloween Resurrection. Now, Halloween 2 is a film that I really enjoy. It's a sequel that honestly is a perfect sequel. I mean, this movie used to be my favorite. That's how close this movie came to the first movie. And its style, the way that it's shot, the atmosphere, the acting. It's a really good sequel. I used to say this was my favorite, but I don't know. The original Halloween is an absolutely perfect horror film. But I can say honestly, this is an absolutely perfect sequel. I honestly have no issues whatsoever with Halloween 2. Now, I do know that you can get the Scream Factory Blu-ray, and it has a different cover, and it also has original poster. I'm not really a big fan of this Blu-ray art. I might pick up the Scream Factory Edition Blu-ray whenever I get the chance to. But for right now, I have this Blu-ray, and actually, it looks and sounds great. It has Terror in the Aisles. This is the bonus features. It has Terror in the Aisles, which is about horror films, but it's not really about Halloween 2. Alternate ending and deleted scenes, which I have not seen yet, but I will check them out whenever I get the chance to. But Halloween 2 is a film, like I said, the first movie, this, and 4, Halloween 4. Those are the three Halloweens I grew up with as a kid, and I remember I used to watch Halloween 2 so much as a kid. I remember when I first got this movie, I bought an old school VHS. Now, because growing up, I was very retro. I loved buying VHS tapes and stuff like that. I love listening to CDs. You know, everybody else had iPhones, and everybody else was, having all this updated technology. I like to stay retro. I like to watch VHS. I like to own CDs and stuff like that. But when growing up, I bought this film on VHS when I was a kid, and it was the original poster on the front cover. The picture quality, auto quality was pretty good for being a VHS. And that was the first time I seen it. And I remember as a kid, I believe I watched all three of them a lot, but I watched Halloween 2 a lot growing up. This, and I don't know, Halloween 1 and 4, I used to watch these movies kind of equal, but I used to watch Halloween 2 a lot. I think that's why I used to say it's my favorite film. But watching this and comparing it to the first Halloween was done so perfect that, like, the sequels, I don't know if they could have captured that. I mean, some sequels got daggone close. Like, I think this one was very close to capturing the first movie's just perfect atmosphere, perfect camera work, and perfect everything. It was a near perfect sequel. I would say that it's probably the most perfect sequel in the franchise, and it's easily one of my favorite horror film sequels of all time. But I do feel like the first movie, you had John Carpenter directing the first movie. You had really good camera work, really good shots, really good suspense. In this movie, you do have some really good shots. You have Rick Rosenthal directing, which, I mean, I'm not a fan of Halloween Resurrection. I think Halloween Resurrection is a complete garbage sequel. But as far as this movie goes, he did a good job. But I don't know. It has a really good score. It has really good music to it. I want to pick up the CD to this movie really bad. It has an excellent score by Alan Howarth and John Carpenter, I believe, who had done the score to the original movie as well. But I do believe that he had also worked with Alan Howarth in this film, which I don't know if it was Alan Howarth in the original movie. I have to recheck that up. But I do know that Alan Howarth got involved with this movie. At least I think he did, because the music was really well done. It's not saying on here, but I do know that Alan Howarth did the score to Halloween 2. At least he did the score to pretty much all the Halloweens. I'm just going to look it up real fast. Alan Howarth. I know for a fact I think he's done all the Halloween scores. At least up to their sequels, at least. But I know that for a fact he did 3, 4. I think he did 2. I'm trying to see here. actually, it's saying here that, well, I don't know. Let me check on it. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to just see here if he did compose the music for this, but I do believe he did. I believe he did make the music of this movie. But Alan Howarth and John Carpenter both made a great score for this movie. It was great. Really energized score. It's a new score, brought a new feel to it. And that's the thing, that this sequel, it doesn't really try to copy the original. And that's what I love about this movie, is that it is a different sequel. It takes place in a total different setting. It takes place on Halloween night still. It takes place, right after the events of the first movie. It's not a carbon copy sequel. It tried to be as different as it could. And I feel like it really nailed that. It was definitely its own sequel. But I don't know, Halloween 2, even though I love it, I still don't think that it's as good as the first movie. And Halloween 3 and 4, I love those movies, but I don't think they're as good as the first movie. But this and Halloween 3 are just perfect sequels. Halloween 3 is underrated, and I'll get to it in a second. Well, I'll get to it when I do that review. But Halloween 3 is so underrated. I think it's a really good horror film. But Halloween 2, like I said, came out in 1981. You had Rick Rosenthal directing this film, which he did a good job. I will say this: he did a great job with the camera work. Tried to give it his own style. Didn't want it to seem too much like a John Carpenter film. I think he wanted to add a little bit of Carpenter in there, but tried to give his own energy, his own feel to the film, which I really enjoy that. The score by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth is great. John Carpenter and Deborah Hill are both involved in the writing of this film. But I do believe that when John Carpenter came up with the idea, because in this sequel this is the first movie that you found out that Jamie Lee Curtis's character is the sister to Michael Myers. And I believe when he was writing this movie, I believe he was drinking heavily. I believe he said that he was drunk when he wrote this movie, so he put that in there. But still, I still feel like it's a great score. So I'm not sure if that's true. I've just heard that while writing this film, John Carpenter was drinking a little bit. But I thought that was a great idea. Jamie Lee Curtis. That's because we're really will be the reason for Michael Myers to come to Haddonfield and target Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, that's a good idea in my opinion to make her his sister, because in this movie you get a lot of backstory of Michael Myers. You get a flashback scene where Michael Myers is sitting in the mental institute, and then of course you see a little bit of just Jamie Lee Curtis, not sure if she's a doctor or not, in a flashback, and you see like a puddle of blood. It's kind of a weird flashback, but I do like how they give a backstory to it, and they say, well, in this movie, Jamie Lee Curtis is Michael Myers' sister. Okay, it gave us something new, and like I said, the score, you get some of the same songs, but it sounds completely different. It's done like a synthesizer, really well done, like the dun 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 dun. And like an organ plays like ding, ding, or they do like a different version of the Shape Stalks music, where instead of just going dun da da, it goes like that, and then it builds up to different sounding music, but it's called the Shape Stalks again, and it's really well done. Laurie's theme was very well done in the movie. Pretty much all the score was done well. And Halloween 2, I just think it's a great sequel with a lot of energy to it. It definitely tried to go its own way. It did not want to copy the first movie. It wanted to make it different. I love the idea of taking place in a hospital. The night that it takes place right after the events of Halloween 1. The guy who played Michael Myers in this film did a decent job. Not as good as the original movie, but he did a decent job. And Jamie Lee Curtis does a great job in the movie. She does really good in the movie as well. You got some really good. It's definitely much more of a slasher flick. It has a body count. It has death scenes. It has makeup effects. It has practical effects and stuff like that. Really, really cool ideas like Michael Myers using like a scalpel and stabbing a girl and lifting her up in the scalpel, and her like her shoe just fall up into the ground and she falls, and then he chases after Laurie Strode. Really good idea. Some really cool death scenes. Taking like claw, hammer, and right there to the head. But I'll get to that. I'll get to the death scenes in a second. But the story is pretty much takes place right after the events of Halloween 1. The movie opens up with Michael Myers. He is walking through the town, and it's all done in POV, which is really well done. Where you're seeing through Michael Myers' mask, and he goes into this people's house, and they're actually watching Night of the Living Dead on the TV. He grabs a kitchen knife, walks out. The girl goes in to get the kitchen knife, and it's not there anymore. But there's a puddle of blood there. She screams. Michael Myers walks across. He stabs and kills a girl who's living right next door to them, their neighbor. And pretty much from there on, it's about Laurie Strode going to the hospital. She's traumatized. She's got a knife wound on her shoulder. She's got a broken leg, I believe. She's all busted up, and she's just trying to recover from what happened in the events of Halloween 1. And Michael Myers ends up finding out through I believe a radio, because there's a really cool scene where this kid's walking with the radio, boombox, whatever, walking, and then Michael Myers, as soon as the people on the radio say that where Laurie Strode's at, Michael Myers just pops up. And that's what I mean. Michael Myers, this movie, he's definitely, and that's what I do agree with Matt. Remember After Life. If you guys want to go see a good rant on Rob Zombie's Halloween, go check out Remember After Life's rant on Rob Zombie's Halloween, because he gave some really good points in there. I agree. Like Rob Zombie's Halloween, Michael Myers is not a force anymore. He's not mysterious anymore. He's not this dark, evil entity anymore. He's just a regular person in the Rob Zombie films. But here, I mean, he just pops up out of nowhere, and you get that great score building up where it's like da 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 da. He's walking along, and he walks along the sidewalk, and he turns the corner, and awesome scene, awesome. And pretty much from there on, Michael Myers goes to the hospital where Jamie Lee Curtis is at. You get a body count in there, and by the end of the film, Jamie Lee Curtis is trying to survive be attacked by Michael Myers. By the end of the film, she ends up finding Dr. Loomis, and Dr. Loomis in this film, he's really good at Donald Pleasence did a good job in this film, but Dr. Loomis really isn't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess he's helping them look for Michael Myers, but he comes in the picture at the end of the film. And I guess in the original Halloween, it was sort of the same thing, but here, I mean, it's not like he's not really doing much. It's just he comes in towards the end of the film, and he actually helps Jamie Lee Curtis. He shoots Michael Myers in the eye. Well, actually, what happens is Michael Myers walks through a freaking glass door and breaks the door into pieces, and then he ends up, slicing this other guy's throat. You get that great scene in this sort of room where Dr. Loomis gets stabbed by a scalpel, and you think he's dead, but he ends up living. And they end up distracting Michael Myers with the air hoses, making loud noises with the air hoses and stuff like that. And and Jamie Lee Curtis, she goes, "Michael," and he stops for a second, and then he walks towards her, and she shoots his eyes out. Really well done scene. And they got that great scene. Michael Myers is blind. You see the great shot where the blood just goes down the mask as if he's crying blood. It's really well done shot. And he ends up going like this, and he's trying to swing. He can't see anything. And Jamie Lee Curtis gets out of there. Dr. Loomis says, "Michael, it's time." And then he lights, because it pretty much there's gas flowing in the room. He lights. A freaking huge explosion happens. You got a crazy scene where Michael Myers is engulfed in flames. And he's walking out of the room, and Jamie Lee Curtis is just shocked to see that he's still alive, and he just falls down. And then it's led to believe that he burned to death in this film, but of course he returned in Halloween 4. But you get that great song, and you get and it's also a different thing when they put the Mr. Sandman song in the movie. And when it begins and when it ends, you get that song, "Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream, da 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 da." It added something new to it. It gave it a new energy. That's what I like about Halloween 2 is that it's great, it's flawless. I really don't have any problems with it. I love the score. The guy who played Michael Myers did a decent job. Jamie Lee Curtis did a good job. Donald Pleasence did a good job. Although I would have wished that he was in the movie a little bit more, but he still did a good job. Donald Pleasence, rest in peace, great actor, been in so many great movies. He did an absolutely phenomenal job in this film, and he does an absolutely phenomenal job in the franchise as well. Just rest in peace, Donald Pleasence. He is a great actor, and he did an amazing job in these films. But Donald Pleasance, he did a good job in this movie. It has a great mood, a different look, but it still feels like it's during October, during Halloween. It has a great, just energy to it, a great vibe, a great atmosphere of the hospital, great death scenes. Pretty much, I'll run down the death scenes real fast. There's a death scene where they're actually in this hot tub, and this guy gets strangled, and he's back trying to change the heat, and Michael Myers, basically turn up the heat, and the girl gets out. You see a little bit of nudity in there, which is pretty fun, and Michael Myers just dunks her head in this, hot tub, cranks the heat up to like maximum heat, and you just see her face peel the skin off. Really, really good practical effects. Definitely much more of a gorier film in this movie. There's a scene where this girl finds a doctor with like a needle in his eye, and then Michael Myers comes out of the darkness and takes a needle right in her head. There's a scene where I guess the claw hammer gets into the head. A girl gets stabbed by a kitchen knife. The classic scene where Michael Myers takes the scalpel and stabs a nurse, lifts her up with one hand, which Halloween H2O ripped off. Stabs her up, and then she falls down and he chases after Jamie Lee Curtis. Great scene. That scene where the character of try to see who it is, but the Jimmy character finds a nurse and her blood's been drained through a tube, and he slips and falls, and I think he actually gets a concussion. Right? I don't know if he dies or gets a concussion. I think he dies because he gets into a car later on. Jamie Lee Curtis like sort of hiding out in his car, and he just looks over and he goes, and he just falls forward. I think he dies. But it's a good movie. It's very fast paced. It's a very close call to the first movie. I mean, the first movie is better, but it's really good. I really enjoy it. It used to be my favorite, but the first movie is, it's flawless. And this movie, I think it's still flawless, but I don't know. The first movie is just, it's an absolute classic. I mean, I think it's, the best one in the franchise, but this is a pretty good sequel. It's one of my favorite horror film sequels of all time. It's a great movie to watch during Halloween. Has a great mood to it. Death scenes, more like a slasher flick. Some nudity in there. You got some really good performances by Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasance. Really good performances by both of those actors. Did a great job. And the movie's great. I really enjoyed Halloween 2. It's a classic sequel. I think it's really good. I really enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, Rick Rosenthal did a good job directing the movie. Even though he go on to make Halloween Resurrection, I thought he did better in this movie than Halloween Resurrection because I'm not a fan of Halloween Resurrection. I think it's a complete garbage sequel. It's awful. It's a horrible film. But this, he did a good job directing the movie. But it's still not as good as the first movie because, I mean, you had John Carpenter directing. John Carpenter did the score. John Carpenter had also, there was also really good camera work to it. The first Halloween is just such a perfect film. But the sequel, Halloween 2, I think it's a perfect sequel. I mean, it's not as good as the first movie, but it's a perfect sequel. I really enjoyed Halloween 2. But yeah, I mean, it's really well done. I really enjoy it, and it's a great sequel. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching my review on Halloween 2. I'm not really sure what else I can say about it. I mean, it's Halloween 2. It's an absolute classic sequel, but yeah, it's really good. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching my review on Halloween 2. And I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye, guys.